Alright, what's up, folks? AOD Talkback is back. Sorry it's been a couple weeks. We've had camera difficulties, meaning I forgot to charge the battery, and several other things, just being tired when I get to school. So I'm actually on the road right now. I just wanted to share a quick thought, and maybe I'll do another one later. But I was listening to a sermon from Pastor Stephen Furtick, and he was talking about inviting people to church. And he said something that really struck me because, you know, as a pastor, you're around church people a lot. So hopefully everybody that you work with is saved. So how do you invite people to church? Well, it's not to say I don't have friends that either are struggling to find God or are far from God or whatever it is. But he shared a story about a businessman that it will invite somebody to church, and the person might say, yeah, I'll think about that, I might be able to come sometime. And the guy persists and says, no, I'm telling you, I want you to come to church with me. And he will either go pick him up or meet him at the front door to kind of shake the awkwardness of you coming to church for that first time, because I know y'all know what it's like to be somewhere for the first time. Or like this past weekend, I went to a class reunion, and there were so many awkward silences, and I'm not good in those times of awkwardness. But you know what that feeling is like, and that's I'm sure what a guest feels like coming into our churches. The whole point was that there's a difference between information and an invitation, right? So we can give information about our church. You should come to our church. Is not really an invitation. It's more like there's information about our church and when it meets. But an invitation might be a little bit more persistent. It might be a card in the mail. It might be you actually going to pick them up. It might be something different. So so it just might look a little bit different for you. You might be that one that goes and picks up a friend and brings them to church. And I think church is obviously, I think it's very important in our lives as Christians, but I also think that it is now the front door of new people coming to know Christ. It's a big piece of it is the one-on-one relationship, probably the most important piece. So you, in that one-on-one relationship, you might want to just start by inviting them to church. Then you'll create conversation afterwards, or invite them to a small group and further that conversation, whatever it is. But I just want to encourage you to, while you invite people, it's great to tell them about your church and when they meet, but it might mean that you have to take a little bit bigger step than that. You might have to step out of your comfort zone and actually take them, or actually pick them up, or actually meet them outside. If you're passionate about Christ, if you're passionate about seeing people come to know Jesus, then you should let them know that. You should let them know that it's something that they can't miss. They can't miss the next gospel presentation. They can't miss the next encouraging sermon where they learn about how much they need a God that is holy, as a result of their sin. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of share that with you, and hopefully that'll hit somewhere with some of you. If you got any questions about that, just let me know, and hopefully I'll be able to get back to you guys later on today. Take it easy. All right, back at ya. I am in Wake Forest now, just kind of getting ready to pull up to school in a second. But I thought maybe I would share just a little bit of what's going on in my classes. If you're new to the AOD Talkback, first of all, AOD is my initials, whatever. It sounded better than Aaron Talkback or Denini Talkback or something like that. So AOD is just my initials. These are my adventures and my travels to Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary, which is 3 hours away. So I travel 6 hours a week for school on Tuesdays this semester. And on these Tuesdays, I am in a class from 3:30 to 6:20, and then from 6:30 to 9:20. Occasionally they get out a little bit earlier, but I head back later on tonight, and we'll get back around 12:45 or so. But in these classes, I have on campus, I have one professor. His name is Dr. Heath Thomas. I found out last week that he is actually the brother of the pastor of First Baptist Church Norfolk, Eric Thomas, Dr. Eric Thomas. So that was kind of a cool connection there. He teaches Hebrew and Old Testament. Those are the classes I'm taking. Hebrew 1 is kind of getting an understanding of what Hebrew is, how to recognize certain things in biblical Hebrew, and then the Old Testament is just a survey of the Old Testament, and we'll go through, I believe, the law and the writings, and we'll get into the prophets and stuff later next semester. So that's kind of the classes I'm taking. We are in Leviticus and Numbers tonight, doing a survey of both of those texts tonight. Hebrew is going okay. I can put a lot more effort into it probably, and it would go better. But I'd rather get an A in family and home life than an A in school life, and that's just how I look at it. I'm doing well. I'm doing enough to get a decent grade in the class. So, but I will continue to put in a better effort because it kind of disciplines me to do so. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on in my classes. The other class I have is the second semester of theology, basically systematic theology. We've talked about the doctrine of sin this semester, and we're still in the doctrine of Christ. That has been a little bit better. I've been doing my reading quizzes every week, and then we have an exam this week in that class. So that class is very much a thinking class. Not that the others aren't, but it is a very deep thinking level, which I thoroughly have enjoyed. And I've figured out this last week that my classes for next semester are going to be Hebrew 2, Old Testament Survey 2, and Theology 3. And I plan on taking the same professors for all of those because it's just easier in transitioning and getting used to their teaching style. So anyway, we'll have the same classes next semester, apparently. Yeah, the camera just fell. This isn't the best holder in the world, and no, I'm not holding this with my hand right now. So anyway, going around the roundabout at Southeastern, and just enjoying this semester so far. It's been challenging, been great, all in the same boat. So I'm just pulling up, trying to find a parking place, and if I can get back at you, I will. Until then.